Government shut down just after midnight in D.C. this morning. It could be a while before any funding deal is reached. Each side seems to be digging in. North Central College political science professor Suzanne Chad is joining me now. Professor, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
They say this shutdown could last at least until Friday when the next funding vote takes place. How much is this about partisanship or rather than policy, would you say?
You know, it's such a good question because it's hard to tell the difference between the two anymore. We have two parties that are dug in on either side and have wrapped up policy discussions in partisan terms. And so, you know, I think right now what the Republicans are suggesting is that this is Democrats playing partisanship and playing with initiatives that aren't even in the spending bill. And I think Democrats are saying that Republicans are not willing to even engage in a conversation about these really important healthcare topics because President Trump has directed them not to, or because they don't see a need to. And so we can't really divorce policy from partisanship anymore.
Vice President J.D. Vance today saying it's because the Democrats want to give Medicaid and Medicare to undocumented immigrants. Is this the case?
No, and I appreciate the question because that's absolutely not the case. It's important to know that the subsidies they're talking about, both Affordable Care Act subsidies, Medicaid cuts, there's a federal law that prohibits undocumented immigrants from receiving any federal subsidies for Medicaid or if you're on the Obamacare exchange. For emergency services, you know, hospitals can't deny services to anyone, including undocumented people. But that is not what this conversation's about. There is nothing that the Democrats are talking about subsidies or support for in terms of health care for undocumented citizens, undocumented immigrants, excuse me.
So we talk about partisanship, but today on several websites, including the Forest Service, U.S. Department of Agriculture, it says at the political left Democrats shut down the government. I think several other websites for the federal government saying the same things. Here's a look at it right there. Yeah. This is HUD that said this on their website today. What type of message does this send to the American people?
Yeah, this actually, I did a little bit of a search that almost every single government website that I was able to look at, which I'll mind you was very quick, has some language like this, almost all of them. Some are more egregious than others in terms of using language like the radical left. Others say President Trump is trying to reopen the government the Democrats shut down. This is a messaging war for sure between the two parties. And I think what the president and his administration is trying to do is to suggest that the Democrats are playing politics and playing with people's lives and livelihoods. And it's up to the Republican Party and President Trump to get over all of that and to bridge that gap. And it's the Democrats' fault all of this is happening.
Some may wonder, why does this have to be a partisan issue when what they're discussing in D.C. affects everyone in America on either side of the aisle?
Yeah, I just had this conversation with my students this morning. They had the same question. We talk about common good and collective action and rising above self-interest and re-election to do what's good for the country. And we are in a place where we're so polarized and so calcified and deeply wedded in our party that actually what's good for the individual member of Congress now is to obstruct, because that's what gets them reelected. We say we want them to work together, but only if our side wins. And so there's all kinds of levels of ways that things need to change to overcome these problems. And we're just scratching the surface, even just talking about it.
Yeah, I was talking to our political analyst the other day, just saying, why can't we all just get along? Let's talk quickly about something that happened today. The Supreme Court ruled that Federal Reserve Board member Lisa Cook can remain on her job at least until January, and they have agreed to oral arguments. And at the same time, they're listening to another case that could involve what powers the president has as far as firing people in independent agencies.
There's a lot going on here. I will say that I was heartened to know that the Supreme Court is going to hear an oral argument rather than doing a shadow docket ruling, and that Lisa Cook gets to stay in the position in the meantime. It doesn't mean the court's going to rule that the president doesn't have the authority to remove her from her position, but that they're going to hear full arguments. The other case they're going to hear, as you mentioned, is what is the president's authority to fire people at will from the federal government? The court has already ruled in various ways to suggest the president has way more authority than was initially anticipated even by the framers. I don't know what this is going to look like, but the court suggested so far in previous rulings the president is going to have a lot more unchecked authority than before.
And what he has to prove is that there's cause for her to be fired, right?
Yeah, that's definitely part of it. Now, the court could rule more broadly on whether or not he had the authority to do it at all. You know, the evidence, we haven't seen a lot of evidence, and what we've seen is very thin. And so I don't know what we're going to hear in the oral arguments, but that will be part of the conversation.
North Central College political science professor Suzanne Chad at North Central College. Always nice to get your perspective.
Thank you, Micah. Take care.
You too.